so I'm here with my January reading wrap up. I had a great start to the new year reading wise. I read 9 books in January, 5 physical books, 4 ebooks, so I'll just get on with it. The first physical book, as always I'll start with the physical books. The first physical book that I read in January was Origin by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 4th book in her Luck series. Book 3 left off in such a horrible, cliffhangery, just evil place, so I couldn't wait to get and read Origin, and it was phenomenal. I can't wait for the 5th book. I can't say too much about it because of spoilers, but it was just absolutely fantastic. I love that in this one we actually get Damon's point of view as well as Katie's point of view. It alternates, which is a way, I like it when stories are told that way anyway, but the fact that we had Katie and Damon's point of view was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read, I actually haven't shown you in a haul yet, but I did actually do a review on it, because I didn't read my own copy of this. A friend lent it to me and I read it and I absolutely fell in love with it. So then I bought my own copy, and that's Written in Red by Anne Bishop. Absolutely just love this one, guys. It gave me such a book hangover. I absolutely fell in love with this. It's about this girl called Meg, and she's running away from something, and she ends up in a courtyard, and a courtyard is basically run by shapeshifters. And humans and shapeshifters, they don't get on. There's sort of a very fragile truce, and so because she's running away, she applies to be the human liaison and work between the shapeshifters and the humans in like the delivery. So she works between them, but you find out she's a blood prophet, and that's why she's running. And it was just really awesome. Very little romance, which I know some people will absolutely love, but I'm hoping that a romance develops in the next book. But it was just really awesome. 5 out of 5 stars. Haven't heard a lot of things about it, so I'm going to be pimping this one out as often as I can, because I just absolutely fell in love with this one, and I can't wait for the sequel that comes out in March. A very obvious 5 out of 5 stars. Then the book that I read after that was one that I've been meaning to read for a while. There's a lot of hype around it, a lot of talk around it, and that's Beautiful Disaster by Jamie Maguire. This is one of the first books that really started the new adult craze, and as you guys know, I really enjoy new adult books, but I hadn't got around to picking up this one, so I did. It took me a while to get into it. I don't know if that was the book though, or if, like I said, because I had a book hangover from Written in Red, I don't know if I was struggling with what to read next. I didn't hate this book. This book caused a lot of controversy. I can see both sides. I can see the people that really loved it. I can see the people that despised it. The characters aren't very likeable on the whole, but it was alright, I think. There were some parts of it that I think really worked, and there were some parts that were quite cringy and were hard to read. So I'm sort of torn between giving it 3 out of 5 and 3.5 out of 5, but I think I'm leaning towards the 3 out of 5 more, purely because Abby, I didn't really like her. I'll be putting up a blog review anyway, but I just found she was the most frustrating part of the book for me. I found she didn't know her own mind. One minute she thought this, the next she thought that. She would lead guys on, all this. She just didn't connect with me very well. So yeah, not too sure on my feelings on that one. The next book that I read was The Witness by Nora Roberts. Last year I read Whiskey Beach by her, absolutely loved it, which is another one of her sort of romantic crime thrillery type novels, and I was hoping this would be as good. For me it wasn't. I did still enjoy it, but for me this one wasn't anything different. Abby witnessed a mob murder when she was just 16. She saw her best friend was killed, and she's been on the run ever since because they tried to take her out before she could testify. So she's been on the run ever since, and she's sort of been throwing trouble towards the mob. She's been making it hard for them. She's been hacking into their accounts and passing on information to the FBI and stuff. And she moves to this small town and she sort of falls in love with the local chief of police. And they try and sort of bring down the mob together, and so that she can come out in the open and actually live her life and not be so scared. I did enjoy this one. There was a smaller storyline about a young tearaway kid in there that his rich dad just gets him out of trouble, which was good, but it was never really resolved properly. It was just sort of left hanging. The romance I didn't find it too believable. It didn't develop very nicely. But it was still pretty good, and I gave it 3 out of 5. Next physical book that I read was Losing It by Cora Carmack. This is another new adult novel that has done the rounds on Goodreads, and I've seen lots of people love it. It started out as an ebook, was very successful, and was then picked up by a publisher. Really enjoyed this one. I liked the characters' thought processes, the things that she would sometimes think. I could see myself thinking exactly the same thing. She's quite insecure, but I just really liked her. So basically, Bliss is a virgin and her friend drags her out to find a guy to lose her virginity to. Now, while I don't agree with that whole process right there, I think that's a little insane. She meets this guy called Garrett. She really likes him, but she can't go through it, so she just runs out and leaves him naked in her flat. And then the next morning she finds out he's her new theatre teacher. I really enjoyed it. It was really funny. We get Garrick's point of view for the epilogue. I kind of wish we had his point of view as well. It was very fast paced. I read it in 2 working days. So that's kind of how quick it was. The fact that, you know, most of my reading during the week is to and from work on the bus, and then obviously in the evenings. But it was really fast paced, really enjoyed it. And what did I give this in the end? 4 out of 5. Just because some of the things were a little cringy. Just the whole going out trying to lose your virginity to a random guy thing, and some of the things that Bliss sort of thinks sometimes were a little bit out there, but still really enjoyed it. And the last physical book that I read in January, guys, oh my god, was Cress by Marissa Meyer. I received this for review and I couldn't wait to read it, and obviously I don't want to give you guys spoilers because it is the 3rd book in the Lunar Chronicles and it is phenomenal. Like, just as soon as I started reading it, I was like, I knew it was going to be awesome. You just know. Sometimes I'm a little wary of picking up sequels because you're worried that they're not going to be as good, but I don't have this worry with Marissa Meyer. I know she's going to be amazing. I love that there's this overall story arc with the evil queen and the Lutmosis, the plague, and the emperor, and her wanting to basically rule the world. I love how there is that overall story arc, and yet we have these individual retellings in each book. So Cinder's, obviously you have Cinderella, Scarlet's Red Riding Hood, and Cress is Rapunzel. But they all sort of, while they each have their retelling, they then all merge together to give this overall original story, and it's just so good, guys. Cress is just phenomenal. It's just packed full of awesome, and the way that it ends, cannot wait for winter. It's going to be just amazing. I love that we kind of get introduced to the characters that are going to be in the next book, and it's going to be amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. Best book ever. Maybe not ever, but the series is one of my favourites, hands down. Okay, on to the books that I read on my Kindle. I read Obsession by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is an adult spin-off of her Lux series. The Lux series basically focuses on the Luxon, and this series focuses on their enemies, the Aram. Now we're in the Lux series obviously told that these are the bad guys, but in this book, Hunter, he's not really the good guy. He's kind of an anti-hero, sorry, but you just absolutely fall in love with him. He's snarky, hot helps, and it's basically Serena sees her best friend murdered by a Luxon, because she finds out that her friend discovered these Luxon and overheard a plan. Now she tells Serena, and then Serena's life is in danger, and this Aram is basically told to protect her while the FBI type secret organisations investigate and see what these Luxon have been up to. And then it's determined that Serena is not valuable, and so that she has to be eliminated, and he doesn't want to eliminate her. There's this whole romance brewing, and it was just so good. Absolutely loved it. I was hooked. It was just as good as the Lux series. Really loved it. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Just totally loved it. Highly recommend it, but only if you've read the Lux series. You're not supposed to have read the Lux series to read it, but I think you do get more out of it if you have read the Lux series. So the next book that I read on my Kindle was Rome by J. Crownover. This is the 3rd book in the Marked Men series. I have only read the first book, which is Rome, but they are all standalones. You don't have to read them in that order. Each story is about a different couple, so you can read them out of order. I loved Rome, so I was really looking forward to reading Rome, and I think it's either the 4th of February or the 10th. I have an interview with J. Crownover going up on the blog, as well as the blog review for this book. But I really enjoyed it. This one is about Rule's brother, Rome. And basically he's been in the army for about 10 years, and because he was injured he is now out, and he doesn't really know where he fits anymore because he can't have his job in the army, and he's always been protective of his younger brother. Rule's twin and obviously his other brother died, so he feels like he failed, and now that Rule is with Shaw and he has this whole relationship going, he doesn't really know where he fits, and so he's having a lot of problems. Then he meets Cora, who is she is the one in the tattoo shop that does all the piercings, but she's also like their close friend, and they're a couple that shouldn't work. They're complete opposites, but they just work really well, and it was really sweet. If you like your new adult contemporaries, you're going to want to check this series out. I really enjoy it, and I gave Rome 4 out of 5. Okay, and the last book that I read in January was Your Love Is All I Need by Marie Force. This is the first book in a new series by her, Green Mountain, I think is what it's called. I read Made for Love by her last year, I think, and really enjoyed that one. Really liked it. So when I saw this on NetGalley, I was like, oh, that'd be a nice quick read that I'll really enjoy. And this was pretty good, but I did not enjoy it as much as I liked Made for Love. I mean, both of them are kind of really cute, cheesy romances, but this one I found to be I didn't believe in the romance aspect of it as much, and I just didn't buy into it as much. Cameron is going to Vermont to help out a family store. She's going to build their website for them. It's like she kind of needs this for her business. It's struggling, so she really wants to make a go of it. And she meets, oh my goodness, what's his name? Will. There we go. And he doesn't really want the website. It's his dad that wants it for the store. But then they kind of are attracted to each other, but how will it work? Because she's a city girl and he's a country guy. It was okay, but I didn't fall in love with this one, and I only gave it a 3 out of 5. But it was okay, but it wasn't as good as Made for Love. So that was everything that I read in January, guys. I hope you guys had a great start to the year. I also bought in January the Mortal Instruments on DVD, watched it, and I loved it, guys. Not gonna lie, I was really impressed by the movie, and if I rated movies the same on this channel, I would give that a 5 out of 5 because I just absolutely loved it. So that's everything. Happy reading, guys.